Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. Obviously, I know at Amazon and AWS, we have great partnerships with the NFL, both with Amazon and NFL football Thursday night and AWS as well. I know we've got some Super Bowl commercials coming out. Uh, One about Alexa reading your mind with Scarlett Johansson. So I think that should be kind of exciting for us. But I really want to take this opportunity to get the voice of the marketer and the voice of the agency. Tim was showing all the great work that the NFL has done over the past year and during your tenure. I want to kind of explore for the audience, like how, from a voice of marketer, working with the agencies, how you're kind of collaborating to create this great work. I think it's interesting kind of going into your background, Tim. You spent time agency side for almost a decade. You also spent time at Activision on client side in entertainment and gaming, and now a 3.5-year run here at the NFL. So I think you bring a really interesting kind of dynamic and intersection of both agency and client side marketing. And then Shane is kind of the lead for the NFL, and Sunny on your agency side. We've got some questions for you as well. I guess the first one is you talked about taking bold and risk rewards around cause-based marketing, social justice. I'm wondering how you collaborate with your agency and internally, because I know you have an internal agency as well, to make decisions along what are those big bets and the bold risks that you want to take with those campaigns.
I think there's a lot of elements to how we pull that off together as partners. On the one hand, we have a pretty clear agenda at the NFL, and I think that there's a lot of commitment there. But on the other hand, I'm very happy to say that the commissioner pretty much lets me do what I think is right, which I know not every marketer has that level of freedom. The ad that you guys saw there that I opened up there when Roger was actually in the ad, he saw that the night before the Super Bowl with the owners there. So it's a tremendous responsibility to be given that kind of leeway, but I think I obviously it's something that I value, and that I just do my best to do the things that I think are right for the company, and ultimately if they're not, then I can be judged by that. But when we work together with 72andSunny, we really are very open about how are your teams feeling about this particular subject. Let's be open about how, what we want to say and how we want to say it. I'm very open. I talked about some of the controversial things around the NFL and some of the mistakes that we have made in the past. I'm very open with the agency about that. And I, for example, if they want me to talk to their teams, I immediately get on the phone or come to the agency or whatever, and we have very open, frank discussions about things. And I may not have all the answers, but I want to be there for them, and I want them to hear from me what I think and why we're doing what we're doing. And I think that has helped us again gain a level of trust and understanding when we do some of this work together. And then at the same time, I hold these guys accountable as well, right? I tell them very clearly, like, hey, this is important for us, and maybe working for the NFL, working with the NFL is unlike working for some other clients. We have to walk the talk, and we have to sort of be able to sort of confidently say in our own house that we're doing things in the right way as well. So I allow them and I want them to put pressure on me and to hold me accountable. And then I, in return, definitely hold them accountable as well. I don't know how tough I am, but I don't know. We'll find out. So Shane, you're on the voice of the agency side, and how you collaborate with the NFL around these kind of big bets and bold statements that they're making with the various programs that you do. So I think about, like, from your perspective, what do you think some of the principles of how you work together and lead to success? And I know that's not just with the CMO level, but you have to work with this internal agency, his social media agency, his paid media agency, so how you kind of collaborate to do that holistically.
Yeah, no problem. One resounding theme that came out in what Tim talked about previously was vulnerability. You heard him talk about it a little bit just now. And I think that is key to any good relationship, but particularly client and agency, because with vulnerability comes trust, and comes the ability to have these tough conversations, and comes the ability to have each other's backs, and also to hold each other accountable, as Tim was saying. And I think none of that is possible without having those discussions and having vulnerability first. And in terms of working with his extended team and the great team at the NFL, especially for social, I mean, that is more an extension of that trust as well. We all know that we all have a job to do. And I think in this modern world of working advertising, people sometimes try to create lanes for themselves and like, you know, internal agency, outside agency. But I think you're seeing more and more of those walls come down. And you have to work together and you build on each other's strengths. And I think we do that very well together.
That's great. I think the next question I have here is really around, think about extending the customer experience with the NFL. And there's a lot of different ways in which you're working together with multiple agencies to really kind of optimize that customer experience, both in venue, online, digital. So I'm thinking in terms of like some of the ways that we think we're obsessed at Amazon about customer experience and how we're working with our partners. I know that we've got a program called Next Gen NFL Stats, where we're kind of working to provide stats for the NFL to kind of improve their understanding of players and player safety. I think you could comment about how you think about the customer experience for both players as well as fans.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's really about engagement, right? Like bringing something new and fresh to their experience with a game that they didn't know before. I mean, fans are fascinated by players, right? These elite athletes, and they want to know everything about them. So being able to get that data, right, and be able to give them, facts around their speed and their power and all these things. I mean, fans just eat it up. And I think what we've tried to do, particularly in social, but also even in broadcast and network and things like that, is to try to take that data and feed it back in a way that we know our fans will get excited about, right? And so to just kind of help them enjoy the game in a different way. And we're all marketers in here, giving them something to talk about, right? Talk value. Talk value is incredibly important. Did you know, right? And so like throwing these little facts out there and going deep into some of these, the data that we're getting from AWS, it's just been, for me, it's been fascinating. And I know it, yeah, exactly. And I know it, and I certainly know it has been for our fans because I can see it in the numbers and how they're engaging with us.
Yeah, I know you're also using it for NFL for safety around the player experience as well.
Yeah, that's in fact, one thing we have called the digital athlete, and we did some spots around that, which again I think fans love to see. But we literally, aside from marketing, we use AWS to really understand from a health and safety perspective everything going on with the athlete. And it's everything from helmets and the impact and different angles and things like that, as well as underneath the shoulder pads and lower leg extremities injuries and things like that. So the amount of data we're constantly getting, not just in games, but also in practice, is really helping us be much better in working and reducing injuries and essentially making the game a safer game. So, and again, I mean, we use it in marketing because we want fans to understand all the things that we're doing to make the game safer. But also, it rubs off on the brand as well, like being innovative and using technology in order to enhance the experience also has a brand impact as well.
Awesome. I know you've got some interesting plans for the Super Bowl in terms of the customer, the customer experience through paid media and advertising that you're doing during the Super Bowl. I don't want to give away any secrets for the other teams are going to expose to the audience here, but I know how do you think about using the Super Bowl to kind of launch like innovative ads and experiences that go beyond just the in-stadium experience or the television experience?
Well, talk about taking risks. We've listened. The last couple of years, we've done some really interesting things. I think, pushing things technically in order to bring a complete different experience for fans. And again, we're fortunate because we have some inventory in every Super Bowl that we get, and again, there's a level of responsibility to use it in the right way. But this year, I wish I would have had something to share with you, but we're literally still finishing the damn thing because it's a new technology. It's a puppetry technology that it's a compositing of different layers using physical puppets together with animation and CGI, and it hasn't been debuted before anywhere. And next in 2023, it will be on two big blockbuster films, but we learned about this technology, we got really intrigued by it, and we decided to take it and create a football game. So what you're going to see, not too much unlike the big spot that we did in the ballroom with the guys in the tuxedos, we're going to have a game of scrum football in these kids' house, and all these players from all 32 teams will be just basically tearing the shit out of that house, and using this incredible technology to bring it to life. So that's, it's a risk to do something that nobody's ever done before, and being on the biggest stage of the world, debuting it there is, of course, not for the faint of heart. But we think it's going to be incredible for fans and for all of our fans, whether they be mature or younger fans. But it's just another way for us, I think, to leverage technology in a way which reflects the brand as a modern, relatable, young brand.
You mind if I add something to that?
Yeah.
So something interesting about the NFL advertising during the Super Bowl almost changes the nature and the purpose of the advertising. You're already watching the game, so it's not like the NFL really needs to keep you there. But what they're doing is adding to the experience. So I think with that in mind, it really changes the way that we think about what that creative does and what that communication is meant for.
Yeah, just a little quick story. I spent many years at the Coca-Cola company doing football, Olympics, World Cup, and I do remember the polar bears playing the game in live, real time, as the game was being played, and setting up the technology in order to do that. And it's not for the faint of heart. Not to say that those servers didn't crash. I won't say if they were working on AWS or not, but that was a number of years ago. But I think, being bold with both, how you extend that fan experience into new technologies and where the consumers live. So I think that's a typical question that came up today was, you talked about the metaverse and Web 3.0 and NFTs and how you're thinking about extending that fan experience into other areas where the consumers may live. Maybe more people will watch Super Bowls in a metaverse than will ever go to a stadium.
Well, a couple of, I think, good examples of how we're doing it right now this week is within this commercial I'm telling you about, where you have all these puppets. And these are not puppets like marionette puppets, by the way. They're, in some ways, they almost look like, animation, but they're more real, more tactile, and it's much more interesting. But anyway, so what you'll see in there is that there's a snap code at the end of it. So our partners at Snapchat, we've created another experience so you can go into Snapchat or use this code. And so all these cool characters that you're seeing doing these things in the commercial, you'll be able to bring those into your house and see them have the same kind of fun, break eggs and do all kinds of crazy stuff in your house as well. And then for younger kids, I don't know how many of you have kids in the age of like 9 to 12, but if you do, you probably know they like to go on Roblox, right? I think I saw a stat not too long ago that 50% of all kids 9 to 12 go on Roblox once a week. That's mind-blowing to me. And so we have a space in Roblox for the NFL. You can go in there, it's a shop in there and a variety of things. And then we created a house, just like the house in this commercial, in Roblox, and it's going live this week, where you can go in there and you can essentially break up the house and destroy it, just like these puppets do in the commercial. And you can do that at any time now. And then once the commercial breaks, you'll be able to go in there and see the spot as well. So it's kind of fun. And we're doing lots of things to sort of extend, into the metaverse and do, experiences that haven't been done before. I think, we take seriously the partnerships we have with these companies, right? These social media companies. Again, Ian will talk about this later today, but we have leverage, right? Because we have great big partnerships with them. And so we're really constantly pushing them to do things that just haven't been done before. And that's good for us, and obviously it's good for them as well.
I know Activision was on earlier today, and you spent time in Activision. So being in the gaming world, has that prepared you to be both an entertainer at the intersection of gaming and the actual NFL experience?
Well, I mean, all of you who've worked in the gaming industry know that it's all about engagement, right? It's all about how do you engage and proactively offer up experiences that just from data and understanding that they're going to like, and that it sort of, again, extends their experience, and they end up spending more time with you and obviously spending more of their wallet with you as well. I think that the things that we certainly have learned on, sort of the NFL side is again to sort of constantly be looking for ways to sort of surprise and delight with these experiences, these virtual experiences. And I think I certainly learned a lot in the gaming industry of how to do that in a way to where it almost becomes a social network into itself, right? So if you go into any of you in here who are gamers, you realize that it's not just going in there and being social online, but it literally has become like a social network inside these games. And we're learning that, and we're forging relationships with gaming partners all the time. And of course, we have a very big partnership with EA and Madden. But just this, I think today, right, Ian, we launched a big gaming partnership, with which you'll hear about more later today. But we've been in with Epic Games, so we've been in Fortnite. Shortly after I joined the NFL, we did a deal which money changing hands. It was just a marketing deal where you could get the skins inside Fortnite for the first time, and then now with a lot of the big gaming companies and gaming groups like FaZe Clan, the one we mentioned today, it's just another way for us to embrace that culture and be a part of it. Like there's no use trying to fight the gaming industry. There's no use trying. All these kids are in the gaming, in games, or they're watching Netflix, whatever. You can't really fight it. You got to embrace it, embrace the fire, and find a way to be a part of their lives there and be relevant.
So we have a social network called Twitch, which is pretty popular with the younger generation. They love to watch people play games. So, but Shane, in terms of you thinking about all these different channels and the always on and the tentpole campaigns, must keep you guys pretty hopping with all the different ideas that both the internal agencies are coming up with and you guys are coming up with and working to.
Yes, it's definitely something that we think about all the time, and think about those other avenues for creativity. And from our standpoint, especially working with the NFL team, these are just other ways for us to get people into the fan base and to engage fans. So welcome any opportunity to do that.
Yeah, creative agencies are absolutely critical. You can have performance agencies and social media agencies, but you guys are come up with those great ideas and curate those ideas and bring them to the NFL. How do you do like a holistic brief with the agencies that are internal that you work with on the NFL side?
Well, I think everything we do is pretty insight driven. So as long as everyone is building off of the same insight and the same core strategy, we find that there's a way to gain a lot of connectivity there. And then as we go through the creative process, we make sure that we're all thinking about it in the same way in terms of how it's going to come to life, and try to make sure that we're as synced up as we can.
And that's not easy to do when you can't get together in person. So maybe we'll take, if we have time, I don't know how we're doing in time, because I knew we were going to cut it short, but if we have any questions from the audience, either Tim or Shane.
Can I give a plug? If you're not following NFL, you should follow them, because the week leading up to Super Bowl this week, there's going to be a lot of content that comes out. Check out the game 2 minutes before the Super Bowl, the halftime show. That's when the commercial's going to come out.
Every device in the house.
Order some snacks on Amazon.com.
Hi, I'm a messenger from Hang Media, an old friend of Shane. So I had a question in regards to, as the steward of the national and global brand, when I think of the NFL, I think of brands. And how does it work in terms of your global strategy, and then coming down to the team level, when unfortunate things happen like in Washington, Las Vegas? How do you coordinate the marketing plan and strategy when there's so many teams also to consider?
Well, listen, one of the first things I did, I learned a lot. You didn't mention I worked in the auto industry, and I worked in the auto industry about 7 years, Volkswagen and Volvo. One of the things I learned in the auto industry is to understand and work with retailers, right? And bring them as a part of your, your overall, as a manufacturer, the degree, they're the ones who are really interfacing with the customer and understanding how to work. Yes, they have different sort of jobs to do on a local basis, but you're all still part of the overall same company, same brands. I think I applied those lessons when I joined the NFL with the 32 clubs, meaning that I immediately put together a team whose only job was to work with the individual CMOs of the teams and have a master strategy of the NFL, which included those teams. And then also we have committees, we have special committees around data, driven marketing, around Latino marketing, Latinx marketing, and around some of the other areas that are important to us in terms of our growth. But like having that level of conversation and dialogue and making sure that we're all on the same page are important. Now, you brought up the Washington Club and some of the things that have happened from that perspective, which of course impact the overall NFL brand. And I don't really know, there's not really a solve for that other than good communication, right? And not, and I think, again, being open and transparent with the other teams as well. Because guess what? If something happens in one team or something that impacts the brand or the image of the NFL and another team, it impacts everyone, right? Like it's sort of it's something that we all have to bear, so to speak, right? And so I think, listen, I talked a lot about the work that's being done. And when these things happen, which damage the credibility and the integrity of the NFL, it doesn't harm the work that we're doing. We're still doing good work and all that, but it does harm our influence. And our influence is important. We have a big platform. And when people begin to doubt our integrity or doubt the credibility of us because of these things, it just sets us all back. So I think it's been very important for us to be very open and clear and quite demanding of the teams to be aligned and be transparent and work towards the same goals. And when it doesn't happen, there got to be consequences. So,
thanks, Tim. We have time for one more question, and then we'll wrap.
Tim, this question is for you. I'm Vincent Bragg, CEO of Concreate. I wanted to speak to like inspire change and like why, how do we let more people know about the impact that you have in the community based on like inspire change and what you guys got going on that side?
Yeah, I'm going to just explain the group here, Inspire Change. So Inspire Change is a platform and a program that we have at the NFL, and it's around community police relations, right? Economic advancement, educational advancement, and working together in communities for police and justice reform, okay, criminal justice reform. And I talked about the overall amount that we sort of contribute, but we have a tremendous amount of partners and good work being done there. Again, very closely working together with players, right? And I think I'm actually proud that this last year, and we started when we realized that this is a 365 conversation. It can no longer be a few weeks a year or only in and out during the season. It has to be full time throughout the year. And I think we raised about 60 to 70% awareness around Inspire Change. And we're slowly but surely beginning to get a level of understanding about what it is that we're actually doing in these areas. I talked about those 4 pillars that we're doing. And again, like I said earlier, it is a combination of committing significant funds and working together with organizations that really have tight networks within the communities, and also working with players who are working together with us and we get funded on an individual basis for the things that they're doing. So you see a lot of our commercials. What we used to do, I think, 3-4 years ago, is like 1 or 2 weeks we would talk about this issue, and now we're talking about it every week of the year, and we have programs in all of our channels about it because we just feel like it's an area that just needs constant attention, and we need to just keep working throughout the year. So thank you for bringing that up. It is a very important, I think, a very successful program that we have at the NFL.
And then I'll do a little bit of word of mouth marketing here. I kind of work at the intersection of Amazon and AWS. So Amazon advertising partnering with AWS, and Michelle is here with me from AWS as well. So if you are interested in these Pan-Amazon opportunities, please reach out to us.
With that, a wrap. Thank you, Tim, Paul, and Shane.